As the NFL draft approaches, one name that is generating serious buzz and connection with the Las Vegas Raiders is Boise State star running back Ashton Jeanty. The star running back has emerged as a hot topic for the Raiders, with credible sources increasingly pointing towards a landing spot for him to come here to Las Vegas. And with draft day getting closer, the speculation surrounding Jeanty and the Raiders is reaching an all-time high, it feels like. Now, first, we got Raider general manager John Spytek recently added some fuel to the fire during an appearance on SiriusXM's NFL show. John Spytek shared a story about his son, Jack, who has been pushing hard for his dad to select Jeanty with the team's number 6 overall pick.
Yeah, Jack is motivated by fantasy football and touchdowns in fantasy football, not necessarily all of team building, but I love that my son loves the draft process at 10 years old, and maybe he's starting to fall in love with the scouting process. I hate it a little bit too, because I know the life that he's signing up for, but the passion that he has. And he walked right into our building and basically told Mark Davis, like, if my dad doesn't take Ashton Jeanty, he's doing a bad job.
Now, maybe this is just a funny story he wanted to share, and maybe has no significant meaning on what the draft plans might turn out to be. But to me, John Spytek's willingness to bring up Jeanty's name on the air has definitely intensified the rumors and speculation of us drafting the star running back. And ultimately, for a general manager like Spytek, who was known for keeping his cards close to his chest, even a casual mention like this feels significant. And it could have some weight to it, or at the same time, it could also be a smokescreen trying to fool other teams before the draft. But perhaps the most compelling piece of this puzzle comes from an insider, Benjamin Albright, a well-respected NFL insider and reporter for KOA Colorado. Albright has stated with unwavering conviction that the Raiders will select Ashton Jeanty in the first round.
Jeanty just seems to be the guy that keeps coming up.
I subscribe to the Church of Benjamin Albright, and he told us at the Combine that the Raiders are picking Ashton Jeanty, and he said it with so much conviction that I've never been more certain of anything in my entire life.
Take me to church, Ben.
That's right.
And he even said that he might double down in the draft in the position, but go high here with Ashton Jeanty. Let's just do it. Let's not waste any more time. Let's move on.
So yeah, this is another interesting video. I mean, maybe it's just him talking out of his ass, but I don't really think so. I mean, I think it definitely has some merit to it. Albright has a solid track record when it comes to the NFL draft. He is widely regarded around NFL media circles as a sharp mind when it comes to draft season, and he has predicted major moves like Kyler Murray to the Arizona Cardinals, Caleb Williams to the Bears, Jaden Daniels to the Commanders, and even the hiring of Jonathan Gannon as the head coach of the Cardinals pretty early on in all these processes. And also too, it seems like he's doubled down on this prediction, so the league is definitely taking notice for something like this. But ultimately, does the Raiders selecting a running back in the first round, does it make sense? The Raiders' interest in Jeanty isn't hard to understand. I mean, the team is definitely searching for a dynamic playmaker to bolster this offense, and a guy like Ashton Jeanty definitely fits the build, known for his explosive speed, great vision, and great ability to break tackles. The running back has been a standout at Boise State, and he's been turning heads with highlight reel performances week in and week out. And ultimately, running back is still a big position of need for this football team. And personally, Ashton Jeanty to me looks like the best running back in a loaded draft class when it comes to the running back spot. Pairing him up with an improving young Raiders offense could give this franchise the spark it needs when it comes to taking the next step in a competitive AFC West. At the number 6 overall pick, some might argue, though, that a running back is a luxury selection, especially with the Raiders having other positional needs on the table. And ultimately, with this draft class being so loaded, you can make the argument that you can still get yourself a damn good running back in the second, maybe even in the third round. So I definitely understand that thought process. However, one thing to take into consideration this year in the draft is last season, it felt like the NFL saw a resurgence when it comes to running backs, with a guy like Saquon Barkley taking the league by storm, Derrick Henry having a dominant performance, and just a lot of teams going back to feeding the running backs and getting a lot of success doing that, and essentially proving that elite talent at the running back position can still transform an offense. Now, could the NFL start to shift a little bit in terms of selecting running backs higher than usual when it comes to the NFL draft because of this? You know, something to definitely take into consideration. But ultimately, the biggest question mark will be whether or not the Raiders front office, whether or not they see Ashton Jeanty as a potential generational talent at the running back spot. If that answer is yes, to me, it is a no-brainer. You select them and you don't think twice about it. Now, obviously, if they don't feel that type of way, then you should definitely consider waiting a little bit to select a running back. I will say, though, if the Raiders do make the move to draft Ashton Jeanty, then more than likely we should not select another running back in this draft class until the later rounds, maybe even like some UDFA type of guys, just due to the fact that I feel like Ashton Jeanty is a great player, but I also think he's going to be a running back that has his most success with a high volume of carries. If you plan to split carries with running backs, I personally don't think he's going to thrive in that type of situation. To me, he's a running back that needs, at the bare minimum, every game 15 to 20 touches on the ground to catch a rhythm. And a lot of times, he's a running back that tends to get stronger as the game goes on. He's that type of running back that throughout 3 quarters, maybe he only has 60 yards. He's been a little bit quiet, and then boom, out of nowhere, he can break off a big run that could change the game for us in a big way. Now, ultimately, in this year's NFL draft, the Raiders should be in a great position to select a very talented running back, and we have a good offensive coordinator who has done a good job having successful run games everywhere he's been to with Chip Kelly. So I think this will be key, in my opinion, if we want to compete in the AFC West. We cannot afford to have one of the worst running games like we did last season. And ultimately, if we want to beat Patrick Mahomes consistently, that is one of the things we're going to have to do. We're going to have to run the ball effectively, keep him off the field with long drives, allow our defense to rest, and ultimately at the same time wear down that Kansas City Chiefs defense and also be solid on defense. Now, it seems like this is the type of philosophy Pete Carroll will try to bring into the fold for the Las Vegas Raiders franchise. So this could be a reason why it could be a legit possibility that the Raiders do select a running back in the first round. And very likely, if they do, Ashton Jeanty is the name that keeps floating around. And for a good reason. The kid looks like an absolute great talent. Now, the only thing I will say is with all this, you know, rumors and all these different mock drafts having us selecting Jeanty, the one thing I have learned about being a Raiders fan, especially when it comes to draft night in the first round, is that it always seems to be a surprise in the first round. You know, we spend months doing mock drafts, debating and speculating which player the Raiders should select. We then gather up a list of maybe 3 to 5 players that we most likely expect to get picked, and then a lot of times that just doesn't happen. Could this be the same situation? It seems like a situation that, you know, is quote unquote too obvious, and that's what makes me a little bit hesitant. Could this potentially just be a smokescreen? You know, that is something to definitely take into consideration, but you never truly know. But it is going to be super interesting to see what they do come draft night in the first round. Ultimately, all eyes will be on the Las Vegas Raiders to see whether or not this rumor will come to fruition. But with John Spytek adding a little bit of fuel to the fire, and with a lot of insiders having us selecting Jeanty at 6, the narrative is definitely gaining serious traction. And at least for now, the idea of Ashton Jeanty joining the Silver and Black feels more real by the day. But Raider Nation, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below of this. Do you think it's a legit possibility? Do you think it's a smokescreen? Let me know in that comment section down below. But with that being said, Raider Nation, that is all I have for you guys in today's video. Anybody that is new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, I will see you guys in the next one.